I'm out here currently in Portland, Oregon during the summertime. This is one of the best places in the world to be. It's absolutely beautiful out here. I'm visiting some friends, I'm still doing some work, and so I want to basically talk about a couple of things that I've done so far and what I'm going to continue to do for the remainder of this trip, which I think will be very, very helpful for you guys. You're traveling a lot, you're trying to stay in shape and still be very effective with your work, but then also still enjoy your life. Ladies and gents, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Before I dive into a couple of the points that I have for this video, the first thing that I want to mention is that once you're in shape, it is much easier to get away with more when you're traveling compared to if you're someone that is very out of shape and you're traveling a lot. Now, if you're traveling a lot and you're very out of shape already, you do have to kind of still go through a period of time that is more painful, where you're doing a cut, you're training a lot harder because you're trying to do a full-on recomposition. So it is going to be a lot more painful compared to someone like myself or someone else that's already in very, very great shape, because the longer that you've been working out, the longer that you've been in great shape, the easier it is to maintain. So if you're out of shape, you have to lock in for a little bit, and then after you get in shape, it's going to be easier. One of the other things that is a non-negotiable for me when I'm traveling, in order to stay in top tier shape, I have to still train. Now, during certain trips, I have a lot of time and I can still train a lot. During other trips, I don't have a lot of time, and so I have to be very, very efficient with all of my training, and that's where I'm gonna still incorporate some strength training sessions, but it's gonna be more full body focused, or a lot more compound movements that I'm incorporating there to get into the gym, get a session done within 45 minutes to 60 minutes max. I get everything done and then I'm out from there, and I still stimulated the muscles, I still made progress that week. The other thing that I really prioritize is making sure that I'm getting movement in throughout the day. So if I'm in downtown, for example, I know that I'm gonna get a lot of steps in, that's amazing. But if you're in another place where, let's say you're not downtown, you have to Uber around to a lot of places, just make sure you add 10 minutes here, 15 minutes here, where you're gonna go for a walk or a very, very quick run or something like that. And that way you still get a lot of the movement in throughout the day. But again, it is a non-negotiable. You still have to train, you still have to move if you want to stay in top tier condition when you are traveling, and you're still gonna be making a lot of progress. Fitness is a game of consistency rather than being really on top of things one day and then completely falling off for the next couple of weeks after that. If you can at least get 3 or 4 quality sessions every single week and then maintain that for a long period of time, that's where you're gonna see a lot of the great results. The rules that I like to stick to 99% of the time when I'm flying is just to completely fast. So I'm not eating anything, I'm not drinking anything except water. I think just airport food in general is like way overpriced, and it's very, very low quality for the price that it is, and so I don't want to get that into my system. B, it's a good time just to let your body process through all of the food that you already have in your system. Plus, you're not really moving around, you're not really walking around at the airport or in the airplane itself. You're just kind of sitting for a good chunk of the day, and so it's good to just fast. You kind of stay in a bit of a deficit or in a maintenance mode. The next thing that I do as soon as I land is I will look for the grocery stores that are around the place that I'm staying at. So I was staying at an Airbnb for the first part of this trip here, and there was a kitchen so I could cook at home. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look where like a Whole Foods is or a Sprout, and I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna pick up some of my essentials, which is I'm gonna grab some eggs, I'm gonna grab some ground beef, I'm gonna grab some berries, some fruits, yogurt for example, some honey, just so that once I'm hungry, if I'm working from the crib, I have food with me that is healthy, that is a good option that I can just quickly cook up. And so this very first meal here, I have 4 eggs, a little bit of salmon, some avocado, blueberries, and strawberries. Now, the reason why I'm eating this right now is because I want to prioritize protein and I want to have stable energy for the next couple of hours here as I'm doing some work. So when I'm eating, it's never the same exact thing every single day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you are a bodybuilder or if you just like that kind of structure, go for it. For me, I eat more intuitively, and I also eat based on what my schedule looks like and what I need to be doing that day. So for example, if I woke up this morning and I had to go for like 60 or 90 minute long run, then I'm not going to be eating what I'm eating here. I'm going to have a lot more carbs, maybe some bagels, croissants, honey, things like that, because I need the carbs for the energy. But if I'm sitting here and I'm going to be doing some work for the next 5-6 hours, I already took some meetings right now, and I just don't want to feel very hungry over these next 5-6 hours, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to prioritize the protein. So with the eggs here, I have about 4 eggs here, some salmon. This is roughly like 30 grams of protein, I would say, maybe 35 here. And so this is a really good amount of protein for me to start the day, and protein and obviously eggs will keep you very, very full for the next couple of hours here as well. So that's basically why I'm eating what I'm eating here. Because if you're constantly going to coffee shops and bakeries and all this kind of stuff, you're gonna have a tendency to overeat on things that you don't need to be eating. Now, I do want to mention that it's totally fine to have those things, but what I like to do, I kind of roughly plan my meals and what I'm eating based on what my social outings are gonna be. So for example, if I know that I landed here in Portland, I'm gonna have a couple of dinners with some friends there, I'm not gonna really care about what I'm eating, but I'm gonna plan the rest of my day around that. So for example, if we're going to get a dinner, I'm gonna eat basically whatever I want, but earlier on in the day, what I'm focusing on is I'm still gonna prioritize my protein. I might even be doing like an intermittent fast from the night before, where my calories are lower throughout the day, and that way I can still enjoy my time with my friends because I've planned ahead and I've kind of worked around that schedule that I have around the day. The final thing that I'll leave you with is it's very, very important to ultimately change the way that you think about yourself, because if, for example, as someone that is fit, I identify myself as a fit individual, and therefore I'm going to take certain actions and make certain decisions that then reinforce my identity. You are reinforcing some identity about yourself, whether you like it or not. So if you perceive yourself and consider yourself and identify yourself as fat, for example, or overweight or unhealthy, then you are going to continue to make decisions from that point of view, which is then going to get you a certain type of outcome in your life of you being continuously out of shape. And the beautiful thing about our mind and our identity is that it is changeable. You can change the way that you perceive yourself. Even though you might be out of shape right now, you can begin to rethink about how you perceive yourself, and you can start to ask yourself questions like, okay, if I was a fit person, if I already had the dream body that I had and I was traveling, what kind of decisions would I make and what things would I avoid? What kind of discipline would I have? And then if you act in alignment with that over a long enough period of time, you're actually going to get the result that you want, which is, a much healthier, much more fit type of body too. So that's the final thing that I'll leave you with, is the importance of your self-perception, your identity. Change that. Make sure you keep that in mind when you're traveling, and that's going to make it a lot easier for you too. So anyways, I'm gonna enjoy the rest of this trip here. I have a couple more days in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. I'm very, very excited for it. We're gonna go boating actually later today, so it's gonna be really cool. So hang out with some more friends, and then after that we head back to Florida and we lock back in, because it's gonna be a very, very busy Q3 and Q4, and I'm very, very excited for it. So that's gonna be it for today. I'll see you guys in the next video, and if you guys have any other questions, shoot them over to me on Instagram. Later.